Thank you for joining us for our video on board recruitment and orientation. My name is Erica Spangler-Raz, and I'm an attorney with Community Law Project, Chicago Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights. The Community Law Project provides free legal assistance to economic development organizations and social service agencies and eligible entrepreneurs for their business legal needs. The following video is part of a series that we developed for persons serving on nonprofit boards to understand the role of board of directors. The videos cover board responsibilities, fiduciary duties, directors and officers' responsibilities, conflicts of interest, the relationship between the board and the executive director, and recruitment and orientation. If you have questions about the content of this video or need pro bono legal assistance, please email us at clp@clccrul.org. You can also visit our website listed at the conclusion of each section. This video is on nonprofit board recruitment and orientation. Developing the board, similar to membership recruitment and donor prospecting, is an ongoing process. You never stop. Before we talk about this chart, hopefully the organization has a culture where the expectation is that board recruitment is ongoing, that directors don't expect to serve for decades on end. The organization should be set up to provide candidates for board recruitment. The board should create a pipeline for new members to serve on the board, should create opportunities to engage members, volunteers, and donors in the board's work. It will make this process of board recruitment much easier. Much of this work can be done by a nominating committee. Sometimes it is done by a governance committee or a board development committee. It depends on the organization's bylaws and the organization's culture. Some nominating committees are comprised of only members of the nonprofit. Even so, the president and the executive director usually have some role in this process, and we'll get to that in a little bit. And while this is an ongoing process, we're going to take each step one by one. The first step is to define the needs. How many vacancies are there or will be coming up? Hopefully you've done a board assessment and know the kinds of skills that you need on both the board and on any committees. You may also need to consider any vacancies for officer positions, such as the treasurer. So the board as a whole, or the nominating committee, should consider the board's needs as a whole and consider a diversity lens in both skills and identity and background. The next step is identifying candidates. Here the board is thinking about who has the qualities that the board needs and would be eligible. There may be director eligibility requirement for some organizations. Many member nonprofits have a board eligibility requirement that a board member must already be a member in good standing. Committees may get recommendations from current board members' networks, very engaged volunteers, newer donors that are becoming more engaged with the organization, or even non-board members who are serving on board committees or task force working groups. The next step is screen, or a better word would be to cultivate. The board should consider whether a particular candidate has too many conflicts of interest with other organizations or businesses, whether the particular candidate has the amount of time to dedicate to serving on the board, or whether they're even interested in joining the board. Prospective board members meet with the executive director and maybe individual board members. They may attend a one-on-one meeting with the executive director or the board chair. And it can just be with the executive director, but it's very important that the executive director is not the one leading the meeting. This is the president's role in board recruitment. Think of this screening as a little bit of an interview process. And keep in mind that it goes both ways. The potential candidate may learn that they're not the right fit to serve on the board for your organization. Many times prospective board members are invited to attend a board meeting as a guest, and they sometimes work with a program in action if they're unfamiliar with the organization's work. The next step is selection. Organizations need to follow the bylaws for the selection process. It's typical in organizations that have members that the members vote in an annual meeting. In non-member organizations, the directors usually vote. The last step is orientation. It should be a separate meeting from the regularly scheduled board meetings. Board meetings should be very efficient, so this separate meeting should really build relationships with this new board member. You can introduce the new board member to the board culture, the organization's mission, the programs, and strategic plans. It's very important to build rapport among all the board members. All right, so in that nonprofit board orientation meeting, the board development committee should create an agenda and organize the training and who from the board will present. The goal should be that the new board member understands the mission, the impact, all expectations of being a board member, including the legal ones and the fundraising expectations. The governance documents that the new member should review are the board member manual. Those should include the articles and the bylaws, conflict of interest policy, and disclosure statement. There may be other policies like an expense reimbursement or executive compensation or gift acceptance policies. There may be also compliance policies such as document retention, whistleblower, and you should go through each of these policies and what it means. There may be other organization-specific information that you should cover during this orientation. The orientation training should cover general nonprofit exempt organization compliance, whether the organization is a 501c3 or a 501c6 organization. The orientation meeting should also cover general nonprofit compliance matters, such as advocacy or lobbying statements or political campaign statements that may affect the organization's tax exemption. This is of particular importance to 501c3 organizations. Thank you. If you have any questions about the content of this video or need pro bono legal assistance, please email us at clp@clccrul.org.